Hey folks, Mike Dawkins from World Cast Anglers here with your Jackson Hole fly fishing forecast for the last weekend in June, the 28th and 29th. I know June screaming by. We've got the 4th of July coming up. We've got some awesome fishing coming up this coming weekend in the greater Jackson Hole and Teton Valley area. Very similar to our previous forecast of last week where, you know, it's one of those where you can throw a dart at the map and just pick a spot, and you're probably going to have some pretty darn good fishing, which is an exciting time to be here in the greater Jackson Hole and Teton Valley area. I'm out here on the South Fork of the Snake. Glorious afternoon and evening. Check it out behind me. I'm going to get out of the way for a little bit. It's just too good not to take in for a couple minutes. But looking into our 10-day forecast, summer's here and it's got a firm grip on us. Saturday, 79 degrees, 49 as our low, mostly sunny. Looking into Sunday, 80 and 49, mostly sunny in our 10-day forecast. We've got some mid-80s and lots of sunshine. What we're seeing is some above average warmer temperatures than we normally have. We're starting to see some of those above average temperatures start to affect some of our fishing, namely the lower Henry's Fork and, parts of Yellowstone National Park. It's a tad early, but hopefully we'll get some monsoonal moisture coming in here in the month of July and August to cool things down. Keep our fingers crossed and we'll do our rain dances. Palisades Reservoir above me, 94% of capacity. Jackson Lake, 99% of capacity. I think that's where we're going to hit. That's the crest. And we're going to start heading downward in those reservoir capacities as water managers probably in the next couple weeks start to increase flows for consumptive water use downstream for irrigation purposes. Be on the lookout for those, especially from Jackson Lake and Palisades Reservoir. South Fork of the Snake behind me, 12,700 CFS coming out of Palisades Dam, 12,200 CFS there around Heise. As I was just saying, consumptive water users and irrigation demand is king here in the summertime. So we're starting to see a lot of that water in the lower portion of some rivers start to get irrigated out. The South Fork of the Snake, top to bottom, it's pretty darn good right now. I'd probably get out there as you can on your next free day or weekend. We've got big bug salmon flies starting off on the lower portion of the river. They're starting to make their way up, and with these pretty consistent hot, dry and temperatures, I would expect them to be cruising around, getting going up into the canyon section here, probably by the 4th of July, in the next 5, 7 to 10 days. We've got really good drake fishing on South Fork 3. We're starting to see some hatches of PMDs, still caddis, but those drakes are the ones that are sort of bringing on the dry fly fishing in the consistency on the South Fork of the Snake that we like and that we know and that we love. Expect that to grow and expect that to trickle upstream into South Fork 2 and up here in South Fork 1 with these sort of consistent, warm, dry temperatures. The Teton and Teton Valley, we've got 472 CFS there around Driggs, 896 CFS on the lower river. Man, the Teton, just like the Snake, it dropped like a rock. I feel like last week I was reporting 800 something CFS. So all of that snow, it is gone. We're seeing really good, clear, consistent conditions. Water levels are super consistent and super stable, and it's time. I'd be ready with some drakes. I'd be ready with some salmon flies and golden stones, especially on some of the portions of the river from Driggs downstream, fishing dry droppers with a small salmon fly, a golden stone, a chubby Chernobyl, things along those lines can be really productive. And I'd be on the lookout for some drake fishing as well as the beginning of some of our PMD fishing on the Teton in the upper reaches. Caddis as well are going to be omnipresent through most of this early summer period. We've had some really good reports of fishing on the lower river as well as the canyon, dry dropper style, salmon flies, golden stones, whatever, pick your fancy foam pattern, a dropper if you want to do that. And then some drake fishing sort of smattered in there. And it's the Teton, similar to the South Fork behind me, has been fishing really well top to bottom. The Snake in Jackson, similarly, we've seen it sort of drop like a rock. We've seen water clarity increase. We've seen water levels decrease. Turbidity is sort of nowhere to be seen, and it's all good, and it is time. So we've got 2,000 CFS coming out of Jackson Lake Dam, 6,070 CFS there in the canyon below, around Alpine, before the salt and the graves. Similarly, top to bottom, we're seeing a bug bonanza on the snake. We're seeing stoneflies. We're seeing yellow sallies. We're seeing golden stones. We're seeing some of the PMDs. We're seeing some drakes. We're seeing some caddis, dry dropper, nymphing, double dry with attractors, streamer fishing. It's sort of all happening over there. And if you're willing, to get over on the snake right now and get on the water, the reports coming back from our guides and from our anglers coming from the fly shop are pretty darn good right now of just catching fish, having fun, dry flies, subsurface, whatever you want to do. Now is a great time to be on the snake there directly in the Jackson region. The Henry's Fork north of us, we've got 1,410 CFS coming out of the Box Canyon, 2,090 CFS there on the lower river. As I was alluding, the lower river, after an awesome spring and early summer, it's definitely starting to see some of those effects from A, lower than average flows, and B, some of these warmer than average temperatures. So remember, when water temperatures get into that 67, 68 degrees, those areas that aren't really conducive to our trout friends, there's a couple things you can keep in mind. Carry your thermometer, drop it off your gunnel of your boat. Don't sink it over there, hook it onto your oar lock or something, or check out another type of thermometer and take some readings throughout the day just to sort of see where you are. Don't fight fish to their exhaustion. Use, heavier leaders and tippet to land them quicker, and concentrate on those morning periods, midnight to probably around, lunchtime there around noon, where water temperatures are going to be the coolest. The green drakes are sort of done, and we're starting to see some flavs around, and caddis and PMDs. That's going to be your game until the terrestrial thing starts on the lower river. On the upper river, the ranch, we're still seeing some good hatches of green drakes. We're starting to see the beginning of the PMDs, caddis, and some of the other brown and gray drakes. I would have all of those in your box. Dry dropper fishing in the Box Canyon, 1,410 CFS is pretty darn good right now. Golden stones, green drakes, your perdigons, your bullet quills, your tungsten, tactical pheasant tails, all of that stuff is going to be really good in the Box Canyon, as well as some of that Osborne, Riverside, Hatchery Ford. When we start to get some of those higher than average or higher flows, some of that water can be really good this time of year and get a little bit overshadowed from maybe the South Fork of the Snake or the Teton, where if you're looking to do something a little bit different, I'd keep, that feather in your cap. Yellowstone National Park, same hoot owl closures there for the Firehole, the Gibbon, and the Madison. Specifically in Yellowstone National Park, those rivers are closed from, midnight. They're open, from, midnight until 2 p.m. the next day. As I was saying, it's those times when water temperatures are their coolest. If it were me and I was heading to Yellowstone, I'd maybe check out the Lewis. I'd check out Lewis Lake. And I know it seems strange, but I'd probably start checking out some of the stuff in the northeast corner of the park. The Slough Creek, the Pebble Creek, the Lamar. I know it sounds crazy, and it is the last weekend in June, but with these sort of lower than average snowpacks and a quicker runoff, we're seeing those things sort of stabilize and the clarity get really good really quick, where you may have some really good fishing, early on in that northeast corner of the park that you normally don't see until mid-July, maybe the first end of 1st of August timeframe, that traditional summer trout fishing season in the Rocky Mountain West. Touching on the green, the salt, they've been fishing really good too. Add in those options, where we're starting to see golden stones, we're starting to see drakes, on the salt, lots of caddis, lots of PMDs, yellow sallies, you name it, So if you're looking to do something different, as I was just saying, you've got, 6 great rivers and a whole national park to go check out right now. I think, as I was saying, it's all going to be good wherever you go. It's making the decision of what you want to do, whether you want to be in the boat or wade fishing. maybe try some dry fly fishing or something along those lines, you're probably going to have a pretty darn good time out there, whatever you go do. Our Fly Shop happy hour, 4 p.m. until close. We've got 50% off all our trout flies. We've got dollar tall boys for those 21 and up, and our sale rack is 60% off. So Fly Shop happy hour every Friday coming through the summer season. Stop in, stock up, get ready for the weekend ahead. And the 4th of July weekend, maybe you've got a trout trip or a camping trip with the family or an overnight trip on the South Fork of the Snake or something like that. Get ready. We're there. We're stocked. We've got everything that you need for anything in the greater Jackson Hole region. As always, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your support and your business in our Fly Shop on and off the water. We appreciate all of it, especially during the busy summer season. So have fun out there. Take it all in. It's summertime around here, and I couldn't be more excited. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you here next week.